Guru Purnima greetings to everyone. A special thanks to my dear friend Professor C.B. Sharma, with whom I have had the opportunity when he was the chairman of NIOS. He had involved me particularly with regard to media education programs, and I have seen his visionary leadership there. Also, my greetings to my fellow panelists, including Renu Nandaji, Dr. M.S. Geeta, Professor Ashish Srivastav, Dr. J.K. Agarwal, Rajiv Mohan Pandeji, and I see so many principals. I still remember during our school days, we used to be so frightened, afraid of the Princey, So to come and address all the Princes in one go is something. So even if you have become a Vice Chancellor, you still, when you see the principals, you remember your childhood. And she used to carry that bamboo stick with her. So, but these days you have very benevolent principals, so loving, caring, affectionate, and so great to connect with all of you, and Guru Purnima greetings to all. What a day, Dr. Priyadarshi, to honor, people who have done exceedingly well in your quiz contest. I think that in fact this quiz contest should be extended to all faculty members also of universities, because there is very little, though we are 1 year old, as Professor Sharma rightly put it, but beyond those 64 pages, nothing else has come out. And also, many teachers, many vice chancellors are not aware of the intricacies of, though we have become the first university in the country to roll out 7 new programs under NEP. My university has become the first university. We have, including 5 programs in media. But the fact remains that we are still, these details are still being revealed. I would use the word revealed, because you have to make a lot of efforts to get it. I'm sure that now that we have a young and dynamic education minister, we hope that, things will become much more clearer. And we are looking up to both UGC and AIU for guidance as we roll out NEP. But, we always lament about higher education. But we forget that the foundation is laid by the school education, So, if higher education, we are not satisfied with it, somewhere, we need to go deep down to find out what is wrong. I don't want to discuss education today because there are so many eminent educationists present here. Professor Sharma has already dealt with NEP. So let me come straight to because there is paucity of time. So let me come straight to the point of media literacy. What an irony that just before the pandemic, we used to bar children from using mobile phones. And today, we are encouraging children to use mobile phone. I mean, there has never been a more irony in our history, like this. And today we are expecting them right from morning to afternoon to evening to be on the kind of, exposure people are getting. I mean, it's not just 5-year-olds, but also 95-year-olds who are getting exposed to media like never before. I feel very happy, I mean, I often used to say that, I used to divide, like you divide history into 2 parts, BC and AD, before Christ and Anno Domini. I used to divide media into 2 parts, BG and AG, before Google and after Google. So I belong to the before Google generation. We started with manual, then typewriters, and then gradually shifted to computers. After Google, you have every information on your fingertip, So that is but now we have to change the entire education scenario. We have to divide it into BC and AC, before Corona and after Corona. After Corona, education has changed like anything. So online education has exposed our kids like never before to media. Now, what is media? Media is not always, when the moment we think about media, it's about television channels, anchors shouting at the top of their voices, that comes to our mind. Media means madhyam, it's a platform. Now, media can be used for online teaching also, media can be for communicating news also, news dissemination also. So, media is only the plural of medium, it is only a madhyam to communicate. So it can be effectively used in teaching also. And I'm sure that over the last 1.5 years, our teachers, I mean, till then, though it was a fad, more of a fad. But today it has not only become a necessity, rather I would say that it has become the most important thing if we are looking forward to take education to the next level. Imagine in Bhopal, which is, I had Asia's first media university. But in Bhopal, I am able to access professors from Boston. And that is because, and that too in this COVID pandemic, I won't be able to host one professor, given the kind of budgets that we have, to bring them from United States, fly them down, and then put them in a 5-star hotel. I mean, we won't be able to afford, But today, I mean, so much of information is available. What both the pandemic and the NEP, and I mean, it's a coincidence that both came along the same time. What both of them have done, and I'm sure Professor Sharma would agree with me, is that they have made learning a lifelong process. Learning is no more, the flexibility in new education policy, the national education policy, is also about lifelong learning. The academic, credit bank, that can be transferred. 1 year you study, maybe after 5 years you can pick up those threads again. I mean, this kind of flexibility that has never been there before. And the emphasis is on teacher education. I am glad that after such a long time we are talking about 6%, allocation of GDP to education. Though it is yet to materialize, we hope that, that would materialize soon. Now, what I wanted to point out with regard to media is that, when we are teaching, it is important that we tell them about the medium also. Because it's not that when you are giving them a Google Meet, these students are just going to be attending your classes. When they get an internet connectivity, they are going to travel beyond your classroom. And parents cannot be, or teachers cannot be monitoring them all the time. It's just not possible, I mean, there are working parents, there are, even if the parents are not working, they cannot be sitting with the child and seeing what is happening. Often, the children will just mute themselves, mute their videos and mute their audio, and then would be visiting some other site. What is happening is that there has been an increase in these COVID times in digital or cyber crimes. And that includes, when it comes to children, that includes cyberbullying, that includes cyber pornography. And a lot of children are becoming victims. I have been engaged with a lot of NGOs. They tell me such horror stories. Because in the absence, I mean, given the fact that majority of our families are conservative, traditional, and where adolescent related issues are not openly discussed, you have children looking up to their peer groups online. And you have a lot of criminals who are posing with fake IDs, who are making friends with our children, who are, I mean, there was this particular case in Gujarat where a child had her, problems related to her, complexes related to her body, and she decided to discuss with an online friend who asked her to, show her body parts. They were all videographed, and subsequently this was a friend of the child or a cousin of the child later saw that video in a porn site, and then they warned the parents, they informed the parents, and subsequently the cyber police came into action and all that. There is a dark net which is there. I mean, you have seen recently how a well-known film star's husband has been taken into custody and all that. I mean, a lot of this stuff is going on, and not only this, children are using social media like anything without any understanding of its consequences. They are not aware of the laws. They are not aware of, what is, so far we have been saying seeing is believing. But in media, what you see is not necessarily the truth. The pictures can be morphed, the audios can be doctored, the videos can be manipulated. How do we know what is good, what is bad? So it is important that there is a national media literacy mission. Media cannot be confined to, media education cannot be confined to media students alone. In fact, Professor Sharma, you are so active, I would urge you to include in your mission for school education that, like the National Literacy Mission, the Rashtriya Saksharta Abhiyan, RSA, similarly, there should be a National Media Literacy Mission wherein media literacy should become part of the school curriculum, very much like sex education. In fact, sex education, you need it only maybe from the middle school. But media literacy is something that you need from the primary schools itself, because children are getting exposed to media like never before. They should know that videos can be manipulated. They should know that pictures can be morphed. They should know that there is cyberbullying. They should know how pornography is peddled. We teach our students, our children, both boys and girls, about good touch and bad touch. I think we should also teach them what is good in social media, digital media, and what is bad in digital media, social media. That good and bad touch on their mobile phones is also something that we need to teach them. Because in the absence of that, they are liking, sharing, tweeting, and students, youngsters don't allow their parents to get into they don't allow their parents to become friends. To become friends on Facebook or their accounts, Instagram accounts. Most of them are on Insta. And there a lot of outsiders are becoming their friends. And they are psychologically not strong enough, mentally prepared. So every day in Bhopal, I am reading in newspapers how somebody has befriended somebody through the Facebook. They have called them to a hotel, and how those kids were exploited. These stories are regularly coming out, this only shows that our children need to be, the more we get into this online mode, great. Online, as I told you, has immense potential. But there is like they say, pyar ke side effects. This is a side effect which you cannot ignore. This is too important an issue, media literacy, which we need to weave into teacher training also. Into teacher training of trainers, TOTs. We have to, in faculty development programs, in teacher learning centers, in HRDCs. We should have this as media literacy has to be incorporated. And every stream, science, commerce, humanities, everybody will have to be trained in this. How videos, how artificial intelligence is used, how visual effects are being used, how special effects are being used. These things they need to be taught, so that the children know that, well, at least they are made skeptical when they deal with any media product. Any information that comes their way, there is so much of infodemic that is there. Even the World Bank has raised concerns about, UNESCO has raised concerns, United Nations Organization, UNESCO, UNICEF, World Health Organization, they have all flagged their concerns. Come to think of it, the Prime Minister in his last Mann Ki Baat, Professor Sharma, if you remember, he spoke to people in Betul district of Madhya Pradesh, my own state. And there he said that why are you, doing this vaccine hesitancy? Why you are not taking vaccines? That is all thanks to this WhatsApp university, in this country which is Vishwa Guru, and we had Nalanda, Vikramashila and Takshashila. Today the biggest university is WhatsApp university. All the Gyan is coming from there. So, and thanks to that, there is so much of infodemic. And believe me, this vaccine resistance or hesitancy is not only among the illiterate or semi-literate people. Highly qualified people are not taking vaccines. Because there are stories which say that a Nobel laureate has said that after 2 years after you take the vaccine, you will die. That kind of things are being circulated and spread. Now, imagine if it can happen to you and me. I see so many senior journalists getting misguided by tweets and falling prey. So many people, educated people. Then imagine the plight of our children studying in villages, in rural areas, in backward areas. If they are not taught about media literacy, it would become really problematic. So my only appeal, I know that I have maybe crossed my time. Thank you so much for inviting me, Dr. Priyadarshi and Professor Sharma. It's always a pleasure interacting with the respected teachers from, and there should be more interactions between universities and school teachers, nobody is superior or inferior, a teacher is a teacher, a guru is a guru. We also became professors and vice chancellors thanks to our teachers. If the teachers were not there, we would not have been there. So we are grateful to them, and it's for the first time that I got, after a long time, to speak for so long before Princes, So we never had the
आपका हाल सुरेश भाई वही है जो मेरा होता है मैं हर साल डर के आता हूँ
So thank you so much, and let us make National Media Literacy Mission a reality. Let us turn media literacy into a movement, and I'm sure your organization would play a very constructive role in that. Thank you so much.
Absolutely,
Namaskar.
absolutely.
Namaskar.
Sir, you are